Socks are the #1 most requested item in homeless shelters. Underwear is the second, shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
Dash for good luck right up until Christmas Day. All right, Russell Gill, Vash the Impaler, how you doing? Good to see you both. Sunsaver, good morning to you, I believe. And, there's our Keith Andrews right there. Greetings, one and all. There he is. Sweet Donna C. has arrived. Now we can officially start the show. Let's see here. Who else we got? Oh, the stunning, gorgeous, and Purpose and Grace right there. Davy Jones Locker, Wes H. How you doing? Cheryl Ann Fulmer, welcome to Spaced Out Radio's chat room. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Oh, we're running out of time. Lazarus, how you doing, buddy? And the gorgeous Helena J. Too much information. How are you? Big Willie and his beard right there. 2 separate entities, 2 separate zip codes. Peter Shamali, how are you, buddy? Nice to have you here. And where are we here? Ann B., nice to see you. Kathleen Hughes, welcome to the chat room. Thank you for joining us. We're going to chat some aliens tonight. Yes, sirree. Vera Ray, welcome to our chat room. Thank you for joining us. And who else do we have here? The gorgeous, thin Lizzie Borden. There she is. And we are like 16 seconds away. Project Blue Book, Jay Breezy, Rachel Wench, welcome from Wales. Greg Moyes, nice to see you. I'm running out of time. I need you to do me a favor. Here we go. Horns up, let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The man, the myth, and the alien legend, our Keith Andrews, is back for the ET Connection, as Keith comes in once a month near the beginning to talk about all things extraterrestrial. A lifelong ET contactee himself, Keith now uses his time to help counsel those who are wanting to learn more about their own experiences they are having with UFOs and extraterrestrials. You can find him online at Inner Voice Enterprises, our Keith Andrews on YouTube. My man, our Keith, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad at all. How's yourself?
I am doing fantastic. Another great night with you on the show. Our last appearance of 2021 already, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. You know, I am absolutely amazed at the speed that this chat room is, and I'm only looking at the one on YouTube. That room is coming up online.
Well, you know what, my friend? I will say this. It's been an exciting year, a weird year, a lot of UFO talk this year. What's your favorite alien or UFO memory from doing this show this past 12 months?
That is an excellent question. I do really enjoy, like, the ones where the questions are coming in so fast that they're running, that we're running behind, if you will. Those are the ones that I have the most fun with. But could I pin down one show? Unfortunately, no. I really can't.
Well, you know what? You have built quite a cult following and following you on this show. You really have. And you know what? I think it's great because, a few years ago when we were doing this, we've been doing this for like 5.5 years now with you. When we just celebrated.
Yeah, we'll be going on 6, I think, in March.
Yeah, in March. It'll be 6 years. And not bad considering the show just turned 7 earlier this week. And I look at it, man, and you and I have we've battled the skeptics, we've battled the non-believers, we've helped the believers and those who are having, all sorts of weird, strange experiences that the majority of humans on this planet will never experience. And I'll tell you, man, I think we've helped some people.
Oh, I even get comments in my own lines that they found me on Spaced Out. And it has literally stabilized their life.
Oh, good.
I had one the other day that was absolutely priceless. He found me on Spaced Out and contacted me because he'd had an interesting run-in that he had borne witness to and couldn't explain. Well, what he described was an earth elemental. Like literally a being made out of earth.
Oh, really? What's that? Explain that.
Well, all elements, there are entities that are comprised of the elements. Your fire elementals, air elementals, water elementals, and earth elementals. These are composite entities that are literally made up of those specific elements. Now, they don't show up very often on Earth. Right, I mean, they're here all the time, but you don't usually see them in big form. But this one was standing right there. The way he described how it came out of the earth and just all of a sudden formed, it was like, there's only one thing that does that. And of course, I talked to him for a bit, and he's like, well, how come nobody else recognizes these? I said, I can't tell you. I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Looking back on 2021, what's your most memorable experience for yourself?
That would had to been. I ended up going outside in 2021. Let me think here. I know it was a Thursday night because it was gaming night, and I all of a sudden stopped and I walked outside. I walked out onto my balcony and took a look at the sky. And my little guy come out to me on the balcony and he goes, "What's up, Dad?" I says, "We got company," and he never missed a heartbeat. He just looks at me and goes, "You're being taken tonight, aren't you, Dad?" And it was, he just nonchalant, this is what's going to happen. You know it's happening way too often when a kid gets that relaxed about it.
How often do you think you're being taken?
At least once a week, sometimes twice. But I can always tell, I don't always recognize it right off the bat. But the following day, I have a massive potassium or calcium crash that's just insane.
See, for me, and I haven't been taken as much as you have, but I always know the next day because it felt like I'd never slept a wink. Number one, and number two, my body feels like it is going through the worst hangover it has ever gone through. Every joint of my body is sore. Every muscle in my body is sore and aching, and it is painful, man. Painful.
Oh, it is. I wake up some days, and I kid you not, my arms, it's like I just don't want to move. But you have to, you're in serious trouble. But I can always usually tell that there's going to be something. But it's the next morning I run into the fun. Trying to piece together, because I don't necessarily remember it all at the same time, because it's an overload on your senses. And anybody that's been taken knows what I'm referring to there.
Well, you know what? Is the hangover normal? And what causes that hangover?
In English, it would be because you're all of a sudden you're all of a sudden in a different magnetic field. And it's kind of like going through a massive exercise routine because you get bombarded with different wavelengths of photonic, gravitonic, and the electromagnetic fields. that penetrate all the way through the body.
Okay. So
Like
does that happen?
Have you ever tried?
Let me ask you this. Does that happen when they take you or when they're bringing you back?
Actually, both. Because they've got to in order for the body, in most cases, to handle it, they've got to modify the vibratory rate so that so your system doesn't completely shut down, and then they've got to reset it to recalibrate with here. Because bear in mind, and astronauts go through this whenever they leave Earth. Right. Most people are seem to be under the misconception that when you're taken, you're still staying in the atmosphere, and most of the time you're not. Most of the time they collect you up, take you up to a bigger ship, and deal with you up there, then put you back. But it can get really chaotic, especially if you get up there and you find out there's a whole pile of people you're seeing. And it's like, okay, well, this many people, it's a lot of work. Because you got to remember, these guys travel around the world they're going around the world faster than mankind can make it. So, of course, you're picking up people in India, you're picking up people in the States, in Canada, and they're all ending up in the same ship. Which is why periodically you end up with people with mixed up clothing. It's like, well, we got to have him dressed. Well, who's this blonde guy? I don't know. Yeah. So you end up with, mixed up clothing. Sometimes you end up coming in backwards. The one that annoyed me the most was the day they missed my bed altogether when they dropped me off.
I will never forget the time, dude. When, and I remember I called you right after the next day after it happened, when I was taken a couple of years ago, and I was begging them. I said, I don't want to go today. I don't want to go today. As I'm literally, it felt like I was walking up these air steps to the craft. And,
right.
And then they immediately, next thing I know, I wake up and I'm about 3 feet above my bed, and I flop back into my bed, man. And I remember thinking to myself, I cannot believe that just happened. Cannot believe that just happened. I mean, it's wacky, man. Have you ever came home with somebody else's clothes on?
Negative. No, they managed to. They've always put my clothes back on. But I have come back very disoriented, especially when I was younger. Now, I can't honestly say I haven't come back with other people's clothes on when I was a little kid, because I just don't recall.
Right.
But in the last 20 years, no, not ever.
All right, let's fire up the questions. Uncle Dale and his power stash are asking the first question tonight. Did you ever end up with the wrong pants or with the wrong wallet? Did you ever bring home anything that wasn't yours? Maybe your clothing was the same, but did you ever wake up with like 2 different socks on or 2 different shoes?
No, but I did end up with stuff, and I didn't think to keep it. But I've ended up with things in my pocket. I'm going like, where the heck did this come from? I've ended up getting stuff. And of course, the really bizarre thing is I'll find stuff in my house that I don't know how it got there. I always chalked it up when I was growing up to just a lack of memory on my part. But I'd lay odds it was a whole lot more complicated.
All right, let's move on to the next question here as we continue on with our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. This one comes from Greco. Opa to you, Greco. Has anybody ever returned missing limbs or organs?
Missing, not that I've heard of. Reorganized, absolutely. I myself, when I was growing up until 6 years ago, I had never been able to touch my shoulder, just like this, just touching my right shoulder. I had never been able to do it with my right hand. Right. And I remember this one day I woke up and I literally told my other half at the time, I says, it feels like somebody amputated my arm and then reattached it. Right. It happened 2 days in a row. And the second day, my other half at the time looks at me and she goes, well, I had an argument with your friends the other day and told me if they're going to keep taking you, at the least they can do is repair your arm. Right. I'm like, really? And I got itchy and just naturally reached for my shoulder, and I stopped. I had my hand on my shoulder, and I stopped and looked over it, and it's like, what the heck? Because I had never, here I am, I'm 58, so I'd have been 52-ish. I'd never felt my right shoulder with my right arm, with my right hand. Because it used to be, I'd go to reach my shoulder, and my hand would be over here. Because the elbow just wouldn't reach there.
All right, well, let's go to Idaho here. This is a comment, but I'm going to form it in a question here. Idaho Potato says, I think I saw time stop after a possible abduction, and only sound was a loud machine in the background. Have you ever had or heard of anything like that, Keith?
Yeah, it's called temporal displacement. Actually, it's auditory temporal displacement. What they do is they put because of the tools they use, your auditory sounds come to an absolute halt. And, of course, people rely on auditory. And most of the time, you get your eyes blocked out anyway because of sensory overload. So what will happen, it's not so much they stop time as they stop your ability to recognize it. Now, the only reason I don't suffer from that is because I don't have an ability to recognize time to start with. But yeah, what they're doing is they're putting you through a temporal field. But it doesn't say, they do not send you back in time, and they do not send you forward. They just take you out of sequence.
What do you mean, out of sequence?
Time is a static path. Now, there's a lot of argument on that, and that's okay. When you get pulled out of sequence, time itself continues to move forward. You're just half out of sync, so you're not seen, and you can't see what's going on. And when they're done dealing with you, they slip you back in. As I said, they recalibrate you and get you back phased into the same sequence. So for you, it probably looks like time all of a sudden ceases. They did it to me once where both me and myself and the witness I was with, saw the clock change. They put us back and we watched the clock on the car shift by a good 20 minutes. And as the other passenger had said, I wouldn't have believed that was possible if I hadn't actually physically seen it myself.
All right, Patty is asking, Keith, will you please write a book about your past lives?
Oddly enough, I'm actually in the process of documenting them on this planet. I've got 18 that I think I've started documenting. And a lot of, when I'm writing the Elder Bachian Chronicles, a lot of the stuff I've picked up, I'm starting to add into that as well. Now, obviously, the ones that are coming out right now, since they're written in the future, not going to work a lot. The other ones are written in the past.
All right. Kepsa is asking, did you ever see a toilet or a kitchen on any craft?
Well, yeah, but you don't want to know what was in the kitchen.
Oh, yes, we do, Keith. Oh, yes, we do.
I did see the kitchen. Well, I've seen the entire setup in the Strazazian generation ships, as well as on the Maldakian ones and the consortium's flagship. And they're nicely laid out. As far as washrooms go, they vary as much as humans do. But I mean, let's face it. Even though they're alien, they still have natural bodily necessities.
What do they use for toilet paper?
Quite literally, it's molecular modification. Essentially, you're looking at the best way I can put it is, how our what do you call the air dryers for your hands?
Yeah.
They use something along the same line. that actually molecularly remodulates the entire system, cleans it up right away, not a problem. In most cases. There are some that don't, and you don't want to go on those ships.
Okay, Greco, being Greek, of course. Have you ever returned with a craving for euros?
No. But then again, I don't have a craving for the money I've got in the first place.
Euros is food, Keith.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking money.
Lipblade Lou is asking, ever wake up next to your bed with one sock on and naked next to your bed on the floor? I have.
No, but I woke up on the floor after missing the bed. That was how I woke up. Was they literally dropped me and I hit the floor and the table at the same time. Not a fun way to hit the floor.
Mm-hmm. Idaho calls that the alien abduction walk of shame. That is for sure. Donna is asking, Keith, what, if any, experiences have you had with cyborg bipeds or cybernetic-type beings?
Actually, a reasonable amount. Funny thing is, they keep, the ones, like, there's a lot of advanced races that will use cybernetic enhancement. Okay. But they, even the off-worlders are leery about any true AI. Because a true AI for corporeal forms is a really bad idea. Even they found this is one of the reasons why many of the races are gearing up for a conflict with the mechlanoids. Mechlanoids are literally, now you've seen what the heck was it called? The show Transformers and the show Batteries Not Included.
Sure.
Okay. Picture those with an absolutely focused effort on eliminating corporeal life. Okay.
In the time before AT&T fiber internet.
What? What are you doing in me dungeon?
It's the only place where the bloody Wi-Fi works.
Oh, and you don't mind the spiders?
Spiders? What spiders? Oh no, they're everywhere! Oh!
In the time after AT&T fiber internet.
It's nice having fast, reliable Wi-Fi in the whole house.
For sure.
The dawn of a better internet era with AT&T fiber.
Limited availability in select areas. Check eligibility at att.com/getfiber. AT&T Smart Wi-Fi extenders may be required. Sold separately. Restrictions apply.
When it comes to learning, your kids' favorites from Paw Patrol and Blue's Clues are Noggin, a learning app designed to help kids build math and literacy skills. Claim a limited time holiday offer of 99 cents a month plus taxes for 3 months at noggin.com/iHeart. $7.99 a month plus taxes until you cancel after free trial ends. Visit noggin.com for terms and conditions.
They're not fun people to deal with. Mind you, if you know how to disrupt the electrical field on them, they become completely harmless. Which is an interesting factor when you think that humans actually have the capacity to do that. Just most of you don't know how.
So how do we?
Well, literally, a psychometabolic modification. And that really helped, didn't it? Basically, it's a question of focusing on the wavelength of the electrical connection and causing an interrupted cross current.
All right, let's go to Michael here. And Michael's asking, after a crazy dream that might be an experience, if you look out the window, will you see a ship?
Only if you know where you're looking. What you're more likely to see if you wake up fast enough is you'll see stars disappearing in sequence. Because ships, much as they're there, quite often will block the view. And it's what you don't see that tells you where they are more often than not.
So basically what you're saying is look for what's there and then not there.
And then back again. Think of it this way. If you put a whole pile of little lights, of little LED lights on the table, or anything for that matter, line up salt shakers, right? And then take an object and move it across in front of your eyes and watch what disappears. And it'll disappear in sequence. And then at a certain point, it'll start reappearing at the same speed. Because what you've got is something that is blocking your optical reception.
Interesting.
This is why it's not always what you see. It's more often than not what you don't see.
Very true. Now, we only got about 30 seconds here before we have to go to break, so I don't think I'm going to ask another question. I know the questions are piling up, and we will start with Phil in the chat room. And if you are wanting to listen on in, you got to be in our chat room, either on YouTube, Twitch, LGAB Revolution Radio, Facebook, or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio to ask Keith any questions, because we don't do the phone call thing around here. Not a fan of it. No, not really. But then again, I'm not a fan because I don't have a producer. It's just me, myself, and I doing everything here. If I had a producer, then probably we might take a phone call. Or two. Maximum two. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues on Spaced Out Radio with your questions. Yep. ET contact, UFOs, aliens, alien abduction, hybridism, everything in the ET sun we are tackling tonight on the ET Connection on Spaced Out Radio. All right.
Hey, space travelers.
All right, Keith,
this is
we're
John
clear.
Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities.
We are clear, buddy.
Okie doke. Yeah, questions are just sailing in.
Oh, God. Jeremy Jones can't get off the pooping questions now. That's hilarious.
Of all the things to get hooked up on.
Yeah. Yep, that is true. That is true. Oh, man. Don't answer anything in the chat room because, I save those. I'm just going to quickly run to the bathroom, buddy. Be right back.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, not to worry there.
All right, we're back. Just had to blow my nose there.
Yeah, not a problem.
Hi, Super Duke. Papa T. Boom to you, Bama. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens. Virgil, how you doing, buddy? Well, let's see who else is here that I've missed so far. Data Derivations. How are you, buddy? The gorgeous D. Swiger. Nice to see you. Who else do I have here? Mennonite Abe. Nice to see you. Square Hammer. Are you on the square? Are you on the level? Are you ready to stand right here, right now, before your Devo? That you're on your square, that you're on the level, that you're ready to stand right here, right now, right here, right now. Love that song. Jesus Garcia, how are you, buddy? Nice to have you back. Thank you for coming on in. All right, there we go. Hey, Bob Birkins, how you doing? What else do we got here? Rono how are you? Oh, them dots are going to get you. Oh, Michael Gutierrez, thank you so much for that awesome super chat, man. Really appreciate that, Michael. And thank you to Greco, Nightmare, and Smithy for the super chats. Really helps support what we do on a nightly basis here. So it is so much appreciated. Thank you for the love, guys. Really do appreciate it. National Memorial, good to see you. Can't believe you guys didn't even compliment me on my nice, beautiful singing there.
Yeah, but on the plus side, they also didn't insult you for it.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
I remember telling somebody I was at a singing audition with a girlfriend of mine one day, and this other woman come in. She's beaking off all the way down the hall. I don't know why I have to go through an audition. I've been singing in front of people for years. I've had people in tears when I've been on stage. And she's coming through making an absolute annoyance to her boyfriend. I just looked at her and I says, yeah, I've had that effect on people too. Yeah.
Hey, Scary Gary, Shroominati, how you doing? We got about 1 minute here, guys. James Smith, nice to see you, bud. I'm having to look up here for my schedule because I have everything kind of locked in on the questions here. All right, let's see here. All right, we got about 30 seconds. Thank you to everybody who's donated the super chat so far. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Saw a bunch of new faces in here a little bit earlier. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways after the show. Leave a comment down below. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to check us out on TikTok if you haven't. We're just starting that up. We'd appreciate your love and support, and follow on there as well, and all our social media platforms. And what else can I say? Thank you to all veterans who are tuning on into this show. We absolutely love you. You always have a safe home right here in our Spaced Out Radio chat room. We're going to get going with the second half hour right now. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection as Keith comes in near the beginning of each month to talk about everything extraterrestrial. We got audience questions going all night long. Keith, we're going to start off with Phil as he's boarding the Woo train here. He is asking, have you ever had any jewelry taken off before sending you back?
I have no doubt they've taken some off, but I've come back with all the jewelry that I wear. I've never lost anything.
All right, let's go over to our chat room on Spreaker, where Jeff is asking, have you ever woke up on your bed but completely flipped around with your head at the foot of your bed and on the top of the bed sheets?
Oh, yeah. That's happened more often than I care to count. They usually actually hit the bed. It's only been the once they missed it. But yeah, I've ended up waking up at the wrong end of the bed. Heck, I ended up waking up on the bed broadside at the foot of the bed one day.
Silly question here. This one's from me. How come, and I've noticed this when I've been taken, and I don't care. People may laugh. I don't really care. Okay? How come, and maybe it's not just me, maybe it's other people as well, that the minute you get back, that they drop you off, you have the sensation that you have to go to the bathroom and relieve yourself.
That's because of the temperature change and the atmospheric change when they take you. You got to remember, they're firing through an awful lot of biomagnetic through your body while they're doing the scanning and what have you. And it sounds a lot of the time like running water is a good way to put it. And if you ever notice, if you ever like get up first thing in the morning and you go and run water for a moment, all of a sudden you can be fine. You can be sitting down, no problem, laying down, no problem. But the moment you get up and move, it's like you get this automatic, I gotta go. But it seems to be a metabolic response, and I'm pretty certain that most people go through it.
All right.
My problem is I try and walk when I get home. If I try and walk too fast, I'll fall down because I can't get my balance.
All right, let's go over to Nicole. Good Canadian girl, Nicole there. She's asking, have the aliens, ever told you anything that we shouldn't know?
No, that says that we should know.
Oh, that we should know. I apologize. I read that wrong.
They told us a lot of things we shouldn't know, but at least not according to the governments. But no, the one thing that they would love people to get through their mind and through their heads is, number one, lumping reptilians as one group is just categorically wrong. And none of them are interested in wiping out Earth. They are not gearing up for, regardless of what human media says, the off-worlders are not gearing up for an alien invasion. And as their one military attaché put it, if they were gearing up for a military invasion, they certainly wouldn't be telling humans. Because they've got this brilliant idea. But no, the reality is they're not here to take over. They're also not here to solve mankind's problem. Okay, they are here to protect Earth from everything else, sometimes including mankind. Hence why nuclear testing is acceptable, but all-out nuclear war is completely off limits.
All right. Purpose and Grace is asking, do aliens eat breakfast foods for dinner? Horrible question. Horrible, Purpose and Grace.
Problem is, most of them don't actually qualify breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But there's something you got to remember. I know Dave doesn't like this part. Breakfast itself, by human definition, literally is the first meal of the day, regardless of what the food is. Be nice.
Anyways. Oh, it's always fun when you're here. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I love this next question from Thin Lizzy here, who is asking, do aliens see in color?
Some see in color, some see in subatomic or subquantum subquantum optical display. I mean, you want to see a weird set of eyes, you should take a look at the way that the which ones are they now? I keep calling them the amoebics because that's what they look like. But they don't see in standard view. Okay, and the Zerzics definitely don't. Zerzics see in a crossfield. But some see in color, but maybe not the same color that humans see in.
What colors do they see?
Well, that becomes a little hard to explain. I have trouble explaining human colors. But they see in the subquantum fields. In many of them see in triphasic. Meaning, if you're looking at green, for instance, they will see yellow, blue, and white all at the same time, and then they patch it together. All eyes don't work like Terran corporeals.
All right. Ian is asking, are there any new colors that you've been introduced to?
Heck, to be honest with you, cayenne, which is a Terran-based color, was a new color for me 10 years ago. I was colorblind until 10 years ago. So I really don't know which ones are new to Terran or which ones are just standard here.
All right, Greco is asking, is there any recent news on the Anunnaki, their return, society, are they still alive, etc.?
Well, number one, are they returning? They are returning in pass-by, if you will. Are they still alive? Absolutely. Okay, but are they planning on coming back here and landing on Earth and going, we're here, and we want to make a statement? No. They are going to be coming by. Well, they've sort of started to scan already, but they're not planning on making a physical appearance. Primarily because, quite frankly, as they pointed out, it would throw human society into absolute unmitigated chaos. You know, it's one thing to have an alien that is similar in configuration to a human, or for that matter, not, that is roughly human size. It's another to have somebody show up that is 15 feet tall in broad daylight. It's going to cause some startling side effects. And the idea that the consortium works under is they do not intend to intentionally alter the path that mankind is evolving on. Mankind has an evolutionary path here, but the reason you've got so much more activity right now is because we are at that breaking point. You know, where society says we're either going to start working together, or we're going to decimate the human society, right back to the Stone Age again.
Of course.
Right, and they don't want to alter it, they just want to see what mankind does with it.
All right, Michael Morris is asking, where can I get a coffee mug like yours, Keith?
Tim Hortons, you used to be able to. I don't think they sell them anymore. That's up here in Canada.
There's some in the U.S., too, on the East Coast.
Oh, are there?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Russell Gill wants to know, Keith, can you tell us if there really are Germans on Mars?
Best I can tell you is there are some humans there. Whether they're German, Russian, I suspect combination. Okay, I don't have a definitive, if you will, what's the word I'm looking for? Manifest as to who all is over there. But I do know that there are some humans that have been over there for years.
When's the last time you went to Mars?
2 weeks ago.
What was there?
Whole lot if you go underground.
Any good bars and nightclubs?
Well, any bar is a good bar for the most part. And as for the rest of it, quite frankly, they've got some interesting drinks there. Basically it boils down to the same thing we got here. They're just made differently. Primarily because they got different ingredients.
That would do it. All right, let's move on here. Greco wants to know, what is the purpose of the mystery rockets that have been seen for over 70 years?
I'm not sure which ones you're referring to, but I do know this has been going on for over that long. Most of it is likely, because like I said, I don't have a whole lot of information for you on that. I suspect you're probably looking at remote high-speed scanners. If they're airborne, what you're looking at is a ship up there will set up a probe and fire it with full receptors on through a particular part of the atmosphere, picking up all the information they want. Kind of along the same idea as a heat-seeking rocket. But they are not designed for war. This much is obvious because the human society is still evolving. At least I'd like to think so. I question that on occasion, but...
Makes sense. All right, let's continue on with our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. Kepsa is asking, Chris Bledsoe has seen future events as apocalyptic wild stuff. Have you had any of that? And can you share it? Because Chris Bledsoe only shared it with his secret keepers, NASA, AKA, etc.
Well, I get a kick out of it because the future isn't written.
The holidays are here, and this year, there's no better way to share the magic of the season than with a festive bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. 1-800-Flowers has holiday bouquets guaranteed to make everyone on your list smile. Right now, you can get 24 holiday light roses for just $39.99. Send a Merry Christmas with 1-800-Flowers. To get 24 holiday light roses for just $39.99, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in.
Brought to you by Noggin. Need a little extra help building your child's math and reading skills? Their favorite characters from Nick Jr. shows like Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, Blue's Clues, and Blaze are here to help.
Let's get to work!
And they're in Noggin, the smart and fun learning app, where activities are designed to grow the skills your child needs to succeed in school and in life.
Fabulous!
What's even more fabulous is that you can claim a limited time holiday offer of 99 cents a month plus taxes for 3 months by visiting noggin.com/iHeart. Start your free trial today. $7.99 a month plus taxes until you cancel after free trial ends. Visit noggin.com for terms and conditions.
Which means we don't actually have to witness the end of civilization if humans can get their act together. Okay, have I been shown a lot of possible outcomes? Absolutely. World War III itself, by the way, which is what everybody keeps worrying about, has already started. But it's not guns. It's not mankind shooting at each other. Okay, World War III is Mother Nature kicking back and saying, I've had enough. And you'll notice she's not checking to see people's bank accounts before she decides to wipe out their home.
True. Very true. All right, let's continue on here with Susan's question. How many alien cohorts abduct in the same methods?
Well, if I go with the idea of the rough guesstimation of 2,500 member races, you'd be looking at about 2,500 different methods. Each race has their own protocols.
Okay, so some will physically take you, some will dissolve you and re-put you back together like puzzle pieces. Some will only take your soul. Some will take other parts. Some are there for breeding. Some are there to be bred upon.
Some are there because they're it's snack time, and you're the unlucky one.
Yeah, true. True.
You know?
Not me yet. Although I could use a little around here and here. But Idaho, the potato, wants to know, why do the extraterrestrials target certain people to abduct and even observe?
That's the easy part. But the qualifications for that, or the selection process for that, is absolutely mind-boggling. Because what they're dealing with is the triphasic subquantum markers. Depending on what the individual race is looking for, or what the particular project is they're working on, will determine what people they're going after. Blood type is only one of the potential markers. Some of them will literally go, oh, there's somebody that's blonde. We'll grab blonde people from this area and take a look at them. Because their selection process is so much more intense and so much more all-inclusive, if you will, than what humans use. Humans, if they're trying to tag fish, they pick one species of fish, and then they'll go with that. Some of these races, what they'll do is they'll pick a race of humans, and they'll go, we want the Caucasian ones, but we only want the Caucasian ones from the Lower Main area. And we only want the ones that have blue eyes. Because they're testing for whatever.
All right, let's move on. Data is asking, Keith, I've noticed over a few years that some in the phenomenological fields of study seem to have a blocked higher nasal passage and or sniff a lot. Is this some kind of implant or other?
Well, you want to run that by me one more time?
Okay, basically they have troubles with their noses. Is it and we're pretty sure it's not some sort of illicit drug, that maybe it has something to do with an implant or something shoved up their nose.
And that would be more often than not the case. The thing you got to remember is that sometimes what they'll do is they go to put an implant in, or they'll use the same procedure to put the implant in, but it's only for temporary inclusion, and then remove it before they put you back. Net result, you'll have the same feeling of something stuck there, and then all of a sudden, then you can't find any marker for it.
Okay. Maybe they just played hockey and got in a few fights. I know a guy like that.
Yeah.
All right. Nikki wants to know, Keith, why are the ETs, when they take us, using items like a lancet to puncture our fingers or toes to test our blood? Test blood for what? And why would they bleed us?
Well, there's a number of possibilities for all of that, but the issue of taking the blood with a lancet or something to that effect is actually quite simple. You see, blood itself, if you take it with a needle and pull it out without it getting exposed to air, has one configuration. But on the triphasic subquantum level, the moment the blood hits the atmosphere, it changes metabolic configuration. And if their test is something to the effect of what's going to happen to these people on a long trip, then they're going to want to know this sort of impact. They also will use a lancet to test the healing rate. And I don't mean cut your arm off and let it go. But because of the detail they work with, they can measure a human's healing rate by the speed the hole from the lancet heals. Now, as far as what they use it for, it depends on who we're talking about. Again, blood, because it contains so much information, is great all the way around. But, politely put, some of them actually take the blood because, well, frankly, it tastes good. No. The shadow walkers like it.
True. All right, Nicole.
I mean, from their standpoint, you ferment blood a little bit, and they're really happy.
Nicole wants to know, what are the cigar-shaped ships for, and what race of aliens do they belong to?
You got three of them that I can think of. The cigar-shaped ones that don't have windows are Pleiadian. The ones that have only two banks of windows are Swazazian, which are your 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilians. Okay, and I know there's a third type that's only got one bank, and I can't remember which race it is that actually rides them, flies them. I've actually got it written down in my notes. But this is one of the reasons why I write the stuff down, is because I don't recall it all off the top of my head necessarily. But the Pleiadians, you'll never see a pure blood Pleiadian on Earth. At least not a live one. Because the atmosphere will kill them. And the Swazazians, well, frankly, they just don't walk around in broad daylight for obvious reasons. Yeah, I mean, people get edgy around humans that are 7 feet tall. Picture adding an extra foot to that and throwing on scales and weapons.
All right, Joe is asking, since Dave always says I have aliens, Joe wants to know, do the aliens like his hair?
They don't have any problem with it. I mean, the reality is it depends on the race. I mean, if you take a look at the ancient race, the dwarvish race, they are really fond of beards. Hair is a whole different ballgame, but many of the races, they're just, okay, humans have hair, some of them, not all of them, and then they go through this thing, well, why don't all of them have it?
All right, brand new listener, Ghost, is asking, you've been fully conscious on board of a craft, Keith?
Yep. Even been fully conscious on board their homeworld. It didn't start out that way. As a matter of fact, the first while, I would know about, like, I get the feeling and what have you, but the cognitive recollection was not something that started until much later in life. But yeah, most of the time I've been on there. I've been on the main what you would call the bridge. I've been in their what you would call the mess hall on many of the ships.
How does I want to ask you this? I think I've asked you this before. I may not have, so I apologize if I have.
That's okay. There's a good bet that the people listening haven't heard it.
Okay, so here it is we got about a minute to go. How come, Keith, when you see these craft, a lot of people claim they see these 3-4 foot orbs by their bedroom window when they get taken. And yet when they go into that orb, and they have recall of going into that orb, all of a sudden when they go inside, it's like this giant football stadium-sized ship. How does that happen?
Triphasic metabolic remodulation.
English, please.
Well, technically that was, but when they take you inside that orb is a gateway into another field that is dimensionally modified. Okay. Because of the fact they can control the distancing between molecules, they can spread that out a whole lot wider. They drop it slightly out of sync so that it can pass through other physical objects. And now all of a sudden that little orb can take on a whole lot bigger room, like a whole lot more room.
Really? Okay, if you say so, I'm going to believe you on that one. Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We got a bunch of questions piling up here in the chat room tonight. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues on Spaced Out Radio. And, of course, we are going to continue with audience questions all night long because that's what we love to do when Keith is around, is take time to get answers for you while we are hanging on out together on the Woo Train, taking a track to the dark side of the moon. Our Keith Andrews, our conductor of the ET Connection. We will be back on Spaced Out Radio when we return, so stay tuned. We got a great show, lots of action coming up in Hour 2 next. All right, Keith, we're clear.
Okay, I'm going to go take my munchkin.
Yeah, you go right.
I'll be right back.
You go right ahead. All right, Big Willie, your question is up next. I'm going to say a quick hello because I'm literally about 20 minutes behind in the chat room right now. All right, who else is here? Let's see here. That's right, Nikki. Pissing like a racehorse afterwards, definitely. Let's see. Who else do we have? Baconator Henry. That is a great name. Welcome to our chat room, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Max Ritchie, how you doing, buddy? Michael Smith, good to see you. Smithy again. And let's see, John Music, thank you so much for that chat room. I will get to your question, or that super chat, pardon me. I will get to your question when we come back from the break, okay? So I'm not forgetting any questions so far. I am just literally going through all the people in the chat room who have joined us here. So please bear with me. We've already asked the breakfast for dinner question, man. You only need to type questions in once. I will get to it. And let's see here. What the hell was that?
That was my door closing.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me.
Well, at least you don't have to go to the washroom.
Hello, Sammy Spiritual Journey. How are you? Welcome to the channel. Who else do we have here? What are you eating?
The all Canadian Twinkie.
Oh, you got a Twinkie. Oh, God.
I got 2 of them.
Oh, there's Eric with a K. Welcome back to your third favorite show. We're number 3 in Eric's world. We're number 3. We used to be number 4. At one point, we were number 2. Oh, there's the gorgeous Tiffany. She's arrived. Surf Jair, buddy, thank you so much for that $2 super chat, bud. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Who else has arrived here as we continue on? Oh, there's gorgeous Gloria. Chris Mo, good to see you. Oh, Michael Smith, thank you again for another wonderful super chat. Thank you, guys. I will read everybody out here in a few seconds here. Let's see here. Do you got a lot of ice down there right now, Keith?
No, none.
Oh, God. We got, it's horrible around here right now. I hate the ice.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, Lucy
It's
Bell.
funny,
Lucy Bell, thank you so much for that super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm just trying to get caught up. I'm just a few minutes behind here. Who is this? Krusty D Pathmaker. Welcome to our channel. Really appreciate that. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Alex Kuhn, how you doing, buddy? Wesley Cornelius, good to see you. Wesley Yukon Cornelius. Yukon Cornelius.
Somebody is a Rankin and Bass fan.
Let's see here. Marvindale Lincolns, how are you? Dr. Zed Smith. Not sure what your comment means, but there you go. The gorgeous and talented Xochitl Paez has returned. Hi, Lunar Tina. How are you? Nice to see you. Let's see here. Hardcore Copper. Nice to have you here. Dr. Zed Smith, we don't need any cheap shots in the room, okay? We don't do that here. Just because you don't want to believe does not mean that Keith is pulling your leg or his. He's going by what he has experienced. You can choose whether or not you want to believe it or not, but we don't need to cheap shot and call fakeness. This isn't the other room that you attend. So that's that. Enjoy, sit back, enjoy the woo. Tits McGee, filling in for Veronica Corningstone tonight. Welcome back. And that's caught up. Okay. Surf Jer again, thank you for the super chat. I will post them on there. Big thank you to Surf Jer, Lucy, Smithy ×2, Surf Jer again, John, Phil, Michael, Greco, and Nightmare for the super chats. We really do appreciate the love and support. I'm going to burn through a bunch of these questions here, so bear with me. If your question hasn't been asked as of yet, just sit back, relax. I will get to it. For sure I will. I can guarantee it. I just got to go I'm like living in the past right now. I'm like 20 minutes behind. 20 minutes behind. There we go. We got about 35 seconds. 35 seconds. Big thank you to all the veterans who are checking us out here tonight and hanging on out. Veterans, you always have a safe home here on Spaced Out Radio, so thank you very much for everything that you've done and deserve in the future. And thank you to everybody who is hopping along, hitting that subscribe button, and chasing us down on social media. We really do appreciate it. And here we go, everyone. Hour 2, horns up.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us tonight, Clam? Ubiquarian. Ubiquarian is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok now at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Check it on out. If you have experiences, Keith now helps counsel people with their own experiences. He's a lifelong experiencer. He's been doing this for almost 6 years with us, and we still love it. We're still entertained as the captain of the Woo train comes on in. Conductor, welcome back. Keith, that's you.
Oh, okay. Don't mind me. I'm off my own little world.
That's okay. Let's start off with Big Willie here because we got a bunch of questions to burn through here. Do you believe you have space children out there?
Well, it's technically possible, but it is unlikely in my eyes, unless it happened starting if they took the genetics when I was tiny. It's possible, but I don't believe so.
All right, 5,900 Buck is asking, which aliens are the funny ones with a sense of humor?
Well, not being a big proponent of humor, I'm thinking, but when you take a look at the Udaki, they're funnier than heck, but they're not actually an off-worlder. They're an ancient race. But the Spare Knocked In, they are comical as all get out. They're only 3 inches tall, but they've got a sense of humor that is just absolutely hilarious. But I think one of the ones that's got one of the funniest laughs would have to be the Drakes. And it's comical with them. Drakes basically are reptilian, but they're close to 15 feet tall. And when you can actually get them to laugh, they have a laugh that is absolutely contagious.
All right.
Of course, they've got a growl that'll scare your hair straight, but,
All right. Max is asking, are there pure-blooded aliens and muggle-bloods like us?
The answer would be yes. If you're dealing with any species.
Socks are the #1 most requested item at homeless shelters. Underwear second, and shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear, and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
Brought to you by Noggin. Need a little extra help building your child's math and reading skills? Their favorite characters from Nick Jr. shows like Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, Blue's Clues, and Blaze are here to help.
Let's get to work!
And they're in Noggin, the smart and fun learning app, where activities are designed to grow the skills your child needs to succeed in school and in life. Fabulous! What's even more fabulous is that you can claim a limited time holiday offer of 99 cents a month plus taxes for 3 months by visiting noggin.com/iHeart. Start your free trial today. $7.99 a month plus taxes until you cancel after free trial ends. Visit noggin.com for terms and conditions.
There are none that have only one. Now, they will have one species of blood, but they do not isolate it into one clan, if you will. Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure that it's possible, but on the whole, you're dealing with muggle blood.
All right, John is asking, how many out of the many millions of mysteriously missing people per year globally do you think are taken by non-humans? Global panic if they found out. Agree?
Oh, if standard humans really found out how many off-worlders, how many ancient races, how many non-human sentient races existed, and we're actually on this planet, they would go into absolute bedlam. Society as we know it would collapse, quite frankly. Now, as far as the question of how many of them, there is no way I can even fathom a guess. Because let us not forget that that the off-worlders and the ancient races are not the only ones taking people and making them go missing.
All right, Nicole is asking, why is Earth so important to them?
Because of the triphasic subquantum database built into the DNA of everything in existence on the planet. This is a phenomenal resource repository, information repository.
All right, Baconator Henry is wondering, do they eat dinner for breakfast?
Well, there you go. Now we've got different...
Exactly.
And, the reality there is that whole concept of dinner and breakfast is one that, on the whole, they go, we're eating because we're hungry. Or we're eating because you're being punished. Which gives you an idea of what the punishment is like.
Mennonite Abe is asking, what do aliens strive to achieve? What are their goals?
Those are as varied as human. The majority of them, the majority of the ones that interact on Earth, are here for research or for learning purposes. Some come here to relax, to basically hang around in a more primitive environment instead of having all the technological advantages that they have where they're from. Some are here because they're frankly trapped here. And then, of course, you got the ones that are here waiting for humans to leave again. And yes, I did say again.
Why, okay. All right. There you go. All right. Let's go to Greco. Do aliens like bacon on their abductees?
That depends on which the alien is.
Well, bacon goes with everything, man, so it doesn't surprise me.
I certainly will not necessarily agree with that. I knew one person that said ketchup went with everything. Take my word for it. Ketchup does not go with ice cream.
No, doesn't go with cereal either.
No, it really doesn't.
Joe wants to know...
And I'll just take your word for that one.
Joe wants to know, Keith, do you know anything about copper-colored 6-foot discs that are really fast? Are they alien?
Depends on if we're talking. You see, there are two that I know of. One is terrestrial. The other one, if you're looking at one that is only, roughly speaking, 6 inches from top to bottom, 6 inches to a foot from top to bottom, they're Corlock scanners. Corlocks are the amoebics. Right, and they use them for high-speed scanning if they don't want to run into troubles. But there are ones that are that color that are human-built.
Greco wants to know, do aliens got aliens too?
Absolutely. You got to remember, anything that shows up on the planet that did not originate there is alien.
So they are abducting other aliens.
Absolutely. See, if you take a look at the Greys, the Zeta Reticulans, they will abduct everybody because they're meshing races between each other.
Okay.
They aren't just working with humans. If they're trying to get, for instance, if they want the Mobians to interact with the Teklik, they will abduct one of each. Several of each, really, and work out a modification to make a hybrid Mobian Teklik for exactly the same reason. The whole reason that humans are used as baseline is because humans are far more adaptable, and they tend to hold their mental cohesion after an abduction better than other races do in a lot of cases.
All right, let's move on here, Keith. We've got a lot of questions here. Let's see here. Fapster wants to know, do aliens hate soccer? Let's hope they do. Yeah, let's just hope. Let's just say they do, Keith. Let's not upset anybody out there.
It's not a question of hating. It's a question of most of the aliens look at many of the games that humans play, and especially when you look at the military-based races, they feel that the games that humans play are way too passive.
So, in other words, they're not faking injury, rolling around like they're half dead on the ground.
No, not at all. They actually kill each other.
Well, hey, collateral damage in sport, man. Collateral damage.
Basically, yes.
All right.
I saw one game where they actually went through the grandstands. That was a bloodbath.
That works for me. All right, Baconator wants to know, are aliens good at drawing, and also do aliens think us humans are aliens?
The answer to that to both questions is some. Okay, some aliens are very good at drawing. Okay, you take a look at the Venusians and the Orions, they're fantastic at it. As far as do aliens think humans are aliens? In a lot of ways, yes, but not when they're on Earth. When they're on Earth, they are just simply not of their nature. But they're not considered aliens when you go to a homeworld. Those homeworlds are natives.
All right. Nikki wants to know, why do ETs bleed us?
We looked at that question earlier, but the reason for it, sometimes it is simply to get the genetic information. Sometimes I know of two races that will bleed people and collect blood because they eat it. They won't bleed people dry for that purpose. Well, the one race won't bleed you dry. The other one, they'll bleed you dry and then eat you, so there's no problem. But I don't think that's qualified as bleeding.
All right, let's go to Eric. Eric with a K. We are his third favorite show. We're in the bronze medal. We've been promoted from fourth. We're up to number 3. He is asking, why should the government tell us the whole truth, and why do we need to know about ETs?
Well, in all fairness, I'm a firm believer, quite frankly, that telling humans the whole truth would shatter the backbone of society. Now, why do you need to know the truth? That's human curiosity at its finest. The trick is that most humans, if you tell them the truth, they won't believe it. They'll chalk it up to, it's some sort of a cover-up, or they're making it up, or it's a Hollywood thing. Right. Oddly enough, the comment, I forget what show it was, but I remember Jack Nicholson is the guy that said it, where he went, you can't handle the truth. And on the whole, people can talk about, they can take it, they deal with it great, but on the whole, they really don't.
Michael wants to know, if we had World War III and launched nukes, would the aliens show themselves?
Number 1, World War III has already started. Number 2, you never get the nukes on a global base off the ground. And no, they wouldn't show themselves. They'd simply shut the nukes down. Because a global nuclear war will damage the planet. And they won't tolerate it.
Right.
That's what they're here to stop, is to make sure humans don't get carried away.
Right. Okay. Let's continue on here with questions with our Keith Andrews and the ET connection. Let's go to Chris Moe in Austria. Do ETs have comedy? Can they laugh? Or are they just here for work?
The answer is yes, they've got comedy. Yes, they can laugh. And no, they're definitely not just here for work.
Nikki would like to know, why do ETs poke a human's fingers and toes to test our blood? What are they testing that for?
That depends entirely on the ET. But the reason they do it is they'll be checking. It's easier we'll try one thought at a time. Because of the delicacy of what they use for scanners, they can check healing rates of the dermal covering by poking the skin. They can actually watch the speed that the fingers heal without actually causing major damage.
Let's move on. Michael wants to know, what kind of alien has just one eye like a cyclops?
Well, that would be the Cyclops. Funny part is they're not exactly alien. He's referring to Polyphemus. Not exactly alien, he still lives here. Or that race does, is more to the point.
Eric with a K wants to know, have you ever heard of the small whites or the Cractilians?
Small whites I've heard of. I haven't done any real functional research. And the Cractilians, I don't know the name, but I may know a different race by the same. I may know if that individual, Eric, if you want to send the information on what it is, I may actually have reference to it under a different name.
Joe would like to know, do the aliens use facial recognition? And if so, are the masks messing them up?
The masks have no bearing on their facial recognition because they look at skeletal configuration and extrapolation. So they'll go right through the mask, right through the clothing, and they'll see what the actual body looks like.
Nikki is asking, Keith, why would any ET race want a human as an ambassador of humans with them when they deal with other races of ETs?
Because they're still trying to figure out humans. And you really do want somebody that actually understands the human condition to explain what you're looking at. Off-worlders do not understand human thinking. They're still trying to figure it out. And you're not going to get that by putting a specialist that has never been human. Even hybrids don't understand it entirely. Okay, that'd be the big issue there.
Makes sense. All right, let's go to Nicola. Which race do you believe is the most advanced of them all, and why?
Well, it depends on your definition of advanced. But the Zerziks is one of the oldest races. They came from before this universe. Okay, they actually crossed through the realm into this universe when this universe first flipped open. So, as far as age goes, they're one of the eldest. As far as the why, as far as the technological side goes, I really don't know which one ranks top.
Krusty D would like to know, were people like Rod Serling of Twilight Zone contactees and given ideas for their writing scripts?
With Rod Serling himself, I'm not entirely certain, but I do know there are some directors that have been getting their information from ETs or from their interaction with them. Like, we're not talking about the ETs writing the scripts. Okay, so much as giving information on what the ETs looked like or potentially behaved like.
Baconator would like to ask, do aliens think us humans are aliens, or do the aliens think we are prey?
That depends on the alien. I mean, a lot of the Teklex, a lot of the Moldocs, look at humans as prey. Okay, or commodities, one of the two.
All right, Wesley would like to know, do aliens pay attention to human entertainment like movies or sports?
Some of the time. Okay, and the reason for that, again, that's from an educational standpoint. Especially when you look at the Martokians. Okay, they send their kids here to watch what's going on. They do tap into satellite broadcast and watch what human sports look like. And yes, they do get some ideas from them. Kind of like humans watching primitive tribes playing a game of hoops, right? Where you're rolling, where there's an old tribe that used to take a disc, kind of like a hula hoop, and you'd roll it across the path, and the people would take a spear and try and put it through the hoop and stop the hoop. And that's one of their games. Of course, now that's a Terran game. Now, the off-worlders, many times, it's like, okay, why are you not throwing that at the people? You know?
I hear you. All right, let's continue on here. So we've got about 3.5 minutes till we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Idaho Potato, what about us ones who are not Rh-negative blood type, but still get targeted by aliens? Can having psychic abilities make one a target?
Two factors. One, the Rh-negative blood type to them is just a blood type. And it depends entirely on what they're looking at, whether they're going after Rh-negative, after O-positive, whatever. It depends entirely on what they're looking at. And can having psychic abilities make one a target? It can, just as much as not having them can make one a target. You know, the thing people have to remember is just because you're psychic does not mean you're a prime candidate. Nor does it mean you're immune.
Very understandable. Very understandable with that. I mean, but what about for abductions, though? Does having an intuitive ability enhance the chance of abduction? Follow-up question from Potato.
No, it just enhances the ability of the abductee to spot it coming.
All right. Idaho again wants to know, are red orbs bad?
On the whole, no. Some certainly, but the color is not indicative of good or bad. The red orb, depending on the race we're talking about, is indicative of, if you will, photonic fingerprint.
Right.
Kind of like pigmentation.
Makes sense. Okay, let's continue on here as we burn through some questions here. Game Vet, welcome to the show tonight. What does Keith know about Mini Moon Starship? A Mini Moon Starship.
Basically, he's talking about generation ships. Many people refer to them as mini moons because they're smaller than our moon. Right, but they are generation ships. They're meant for long-range trips, long-range experimentation, sometimes colonization. And no, nobody is trying to set up a colony on Earth. If they were, mankind would already know.
Susan wants to know, I have woken up with my rings on the wrong fingers. Could this be because of an abduction? We got 45 seconds.
Absolutely possible. The reality is they'll try and keep memory of it, but some of these guys don't have 5 fingers. So it's like, well, what do you do with that? But at least you're getting all your rings back.
And how gorgeous is this, man? Brazelhoff saying, Dave, you got me while I'm in the shower. He's listening to us while he's, using his little face scrub to make sure that his pores are clean. Hopefully using a nice, shampoo and conditioner combination. Don't forget to scrub under the armpits and behind the ears. That's always one place people forget is behind the ears. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continue on Spaced Out Radio. When we return, your questions. It's a fun night of enjoying the woo side of entertainment. Yes, we love our Keith around here. A genuine soul indeed. The Woo Train continues to roll right after this on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron.
All right, there we go. I'm just going to burn through a few of these. Let's see here. Hi, Northern Illinois. Guys, right now I am about 27 minutes behind in the chat room. All right? Northern Illinois Sasquatch, how you doing? Let's see. I've asked the alien prey question. Let's go. Mr. Lurks-a-Lot, your question's up next. Let's see here. Who else has arrived here? Lester, nice to see you. Commonwealth Andrew, nice to see you. Oh, let's see. Who else is here? Ross Smith, good to see you. Oh, let's see here. Who else has returned here?
Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today. Brought to you by Noggin. Need a little extra help building your child's math and reading skills? Their favorite characters from Nick Jr. shows like Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, Blue's Clues, and Blaze are here to help.
Let's get to work!
And they're in Noggin, the smart and fun learning app, where activities are designed to grow the skills your child needs to succeed in school and in life. Fabulous! What's even more fabulous is that you can claim a limited time holiday offer of 99 cents a month plus taxes for 3 months by visiting noggin.com/iHeart. Start your free trial today. $7.99 a month plus taxes until you cancel after free trial ends. Visit noggin.com for terms and conditions.
Bigfoot Michigan Rob, how you doing, buddy? TMI, thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. I'll get that up here in a little bit with your question. Chad Smith, thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate that, Chadster. Hey, when did you get your Chad Smith shirt? Because I was going to get you one. I noticed you had it on your show on Sunny's show today. Simon Wales, I'm Dave Scott. Oh, nice comment, Dr. Zed Smith. Has to fit your narrative, SOR. You have displayed just in the last hour how naive, racist, and block. Where have I been racist, you moron? That is a horrible comment to make. Okay?
Saying you're racist?
Yeah. Just give me a second here, Keith. No.
Yeah.
No. First off, Dr. Zed Smith, this is my chat room. All right? My chat room. You don't call me horrible things like that. All right? Absolutely not. You can leave as far as I'm concerned. Okay, all you do, we don't troll our guests here. We have respect for our guests. Number one. Number two, you've never stood in Keith's shoes or any other experiencer's shoes here. You don't have to believe Keith. Okay? I don't have to believe Keith, even though I have. All right? Enjoy the chat room for what it's worth, man. It's a fun show that we do once a month to bring some enjoyment to this topic. Okay? If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. But if you ever call me that again, you'll get banned. Absolutely banned. I don't put up with that bullshit. Never made any racist comment whatsoever. Fuck's sakes, that pisses me off.
I don't argue with you there at all. I mean, from my standpoint, I've heard you called a lot of things.
It's okay, Keith.
That's ridiculous.
It's been hanging around in the other chat room too much where they put up with crap like that.
Amazing. It's funny, I got told I was racist one day, but the person that told me explained why they said it.
Okay, Keith, we're coming back here.
Yeah.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to say hello and remind everybody that you can check out our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. And our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection as we are going to take audience questions here. Keith, we're going to start off with Mr. Lurks-A-Lot. Do you know if the ETs do anything at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in their underground facility?
Well, here's where I'm going to give you a real sideways answer. Do I know? The answer is yes. Am I going to say anything about it? The answer is no. As I've mentioned on many shows, specific locations, am I going to give out specific locations where things are happening? Not a snowball's prayer. Too many complications can come. Yeah, I mean, heck, when the CIA came out to talk to me, I wouldn't tell them.
Well, I know that. All right, let's continue on here. And where am I here? I've scrolled right by where I needed to go. My goodness.
Way to go. I usually do that when I'm driving.
My goodness, did I ever go way far? Way far. All right. Let me find out where we are here. Well, let me ask you this while I'm trying to get my place back in the chat room here. How much of a connection are there between certain races and governments of this world? Like, is it like 30, 40, 50 different races are in touch, or is it one or two?
It's just a few of them are in constant contact. And none of them are giving military weaponry. You know, there's no weapons like alien weaponry being turned over and go, here's how it works. This will give you a better hand up on the other human factions. But there are only a handful, right?
All right.
Some of them are connected. I gotta look that one up. I've got it written down somewhere. Some of them are connected with more than one government. You know, they're more geological in configuration, or geographical, rather.
All right. Andrew of the United Kingdom is asking, who is flying the Tic Tac?
I have to go into my notes because I keep looking that up and I keep promptly forgetting it. That's why I've got the books I'm writing, so I can identify them, keep it all in order. Because that is a royal pain for me on occasion, trying to piece it all and trying to keep it all in order. I'm just looking through my notes while I'm talking to you here to pull it together and see where I actually lost it. But fortunately, computers are wonderful from that standpoint. It's not in book 1. I didn't think so. So it's got to be in book 2. In the second volume. Where is that? Volume 2. It's got to be in there because I know I've got it in my notes somewhere and I think I've already transferred it in. But I am trying to give an answer to that. But that being said.
Well, while you're looking it up, let's ask this question from Julie.
Absolutely.
Have your experiences affected you spiritually? Or pardon me, how have they affected you?
It's helped me be a whole lot more neutral in my outlook on things. Like, I didn't have a, whatchamacallit in the first place. I didn't see a difference between humans. And this has helped me understand that there's no difference between humans, plants, animals, off-worlders, ancient races. They're all the same thing. You know, they've all got their strengths and weaknesses.
Max is asking, what is the predominant species in the Milky Way?
That is a fantastic question. I'd likely be inclined to say, that is a really good question. Because I've never done a head count. I don't think anybody has. Let us just, because I'm pretty dead, but, oh, sheep. I am pulling a real blank here. They're parasitic size is what the problem is. And, you know, like I said, it boils down to an issue of, there are so many in the Milky Way. This idea that many humans have, that humans are the only intelligently evolved civilization, is absolutely off kilter.
Brazelhoff wants to know, is the hybrid program complete, and is it being done by one group or multiple?
Multiple are working on it. Is it complete? No, it is constantly evolving. But it's the Greys or the Zeta Reticulans that have essentially perfected it. They're still evolving it because the races are still evolving.
All right. TMI wants to know, what was your experience with aliens like?
Boy, there's a complicated one. The answer to the first question, the most numerous of the alien races would be the Archon. They start off the size of a parasite and grow to be larger than planets. Now, that said, I didn't find the information I was looking for as far as the other one goes, but from my standpoint, it started off with abductions where I was literally hurt to find out my arm was actually snapped by the Talons just because they wanted to find out what kind of tension a human body could take. They were looking for weak points. You know, it went from there to your normal abductions that were nothing but a horror run. Okay, much like, unfortunately, my experience at the hands of the MyLab. But then it became more of a interactive communication line, and eventually I got into the issue of actually consulting with them. Many of my friends, when I talk about having friends in high places, I mean they're off-worlders. One of my best friends is Razazin, the guy who pushes 8 feet tall. Right. So, I mean, I've gone the whole gamut.
Right. Okay. Let's continue on here with questions from our audience. And let's go to Lester. Do any species clone themselves?
Humans? Sorry. There are some that do, yes. And some of them do it for metabolic reasons. But I think what he may be aiming at, is whether or not, as rumor has it, that the Greys are all a bunch of clones and they're wearing out and what have you. No. they have the same kind of, mind you, much more advanced technologies, tendencies, and they don't necessarily have the social hang-ups. You know, that's the reality behind it. But do they? Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's move on here. Greco would like to know, can you tell us about any weird obsessions that aliens have like humans do, whether it's hoarding, chocolate, beer, thrill seekers, etc.?
Well, if you take a look at the ancient race, what you would know as dwarves, it is understated how much they like their fermented foods. Humans understate it way too far. I swear these guys prefer a high alcohol blood level.
So I like boozing it up a little bit.
No, they like not boozing it up very little. I swear, 3/4 of the time these guys are just plain drunk. You know.
Eric with a K wants to know, are humans making hybrids secretly with ET DNA?
In my opinion, high probability. I do not have proof of it one way or the other.
Kepsa wants to know, have you tried to record taking, you being taken with a camera, or you sleeping or something?
Absolutely not. The reason being, technology doesn't work very well for me at the best of times. I mean, I'm amazed the computer works for me. But no, I just don't bother. I mean, I short the poor things out on my own, never mind what they do to them. And by the way, that other question, just a sideline. I told you there was a third cigar shape?
Yeah.
Okay. The third cigar shape with the single bank is the Drakes that actually have it.
Cool.
That's just a side note to an earlier question.
All right. Surf Jer wants to know, are there still 30-foot humans that still exist?
Absolutely. Just not on the surface of Earth.
Where'd they go?
What people are calling inner Earth.
TMI would like to know, what kind of alien is Chad Smith? Oh.
Yeah, that one we're not going to touch.
No, that one's just scary. You don't want to mess with the Chad's aliens. Don't want to mess with them. Fap wants to know, ever see Taco Bell, pizza, or any other human food up on a ship?
Yeah, usually brought by humans that were taken while they were out shopping. But in answer to, is there some sort of a link there, as in, have any of the fast food joints managed to get on board? Not as far as I'm aware.
All right. Night Gazer, do the Greys have nipples?
Well, that's an interesting question, but the answer is yes.
I'm not even having a follow-up question for that one. Not even close. Ian wants to know, on the whole, do aliens prefer Preparation H?
For what, a snack?
I just asked the questions, Keith.
Yeah, I know.
Lazarus would like to know, do aliens prefer foreplay or do they just dive right in?
Depends on the alien and the individual. There are some races, in answer to the question he's likely to come up with next, there are some that it would be really a bad idea to try and play with them. Although it would be a short-lived bad idea.
All right, let's continue on here as we are with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Thin Lizzy wants to know, do aliens mix races?
I miss what you mean by do they mix races.
Well, like for instance, would a cesarean make sweet love to procreate with a mantid being?
That much of a deviation, highly improbable. They're built wrong. However, one reptilian race to another would not be unheard of. Same as some of the feline to the other. But that being said, do they intermingle? Yeah, but not often for procreative capabilities, because most of them are not genetically compatible with each other.
All right. See where else we go here. Let's go to Andrew. Do the aliens go to the cinema and watch films about being invaded by humans from Earth?
It's funny that he should ask. They've actually got live plays that they've done that. Mind you, it usually ends up really bad depending on which race is putting the artistic display on.
Purpose and Grace, what do ETs make of ghosts here?
Same thing they make of them on their own planets. They're disembodied figures that no longer have a body. Although you do have some aliens will believe in ghosts, but they won't believe in, they will believe in aliens, they won't believe in ghosts. There's some that believe in ghosts and won't believe in aliens. It's kind of funny to watch. But the really comical ones is when you watch the non-corporeal races that don't believe in corporeal ones. They just don't understand. Some of these people just don't understand how somebody can be stopped by a molecularly slower maneuver or slower item. If the molecules are moving slower, you should be able to move between them. But yeah, they look at ghosts the same way that humans do in a lot of cases.
TMI wants to know, do all races of aliens abduct?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Some of these races, you got to ask how they would possibly abduct. You take a look at the Spare Knocked In. The guys are only 3 feet tall or 3 inches tall. And that's the tall ones. So, people like that, they just, and of course, the Corlock won't abduct because if they try and take humans on board a ship, the humans will die. Okay. There is no way you're getting a human onto a Corlock ship. If you look at the Kinlar, they won't abduct, they'll just eat you. But, So, no, it's definitely a case of, no, not all alien races abduct.
All right, let's continue on here as we got about 5.5 minutes before we have to go to break here.
In the time before AT&T fiber internet.
What? What are you doing in me dungeon?
It's the only place where the bloody Wi-Fi works.
Oh, and you don't mind the spiders?
Spiders? What spiders? Oh no, they're everywhere! Oh!
In the time after AT&T fiber internet.
It's nice having fast, reliable Wi-Fi in the whole house.
For sure.
The dawn of a better internet era with AT&T fiber.
Limited availability in select areas. Check eligibility at att.com/getfiber. AT&T Smart Wi-Fi extenders may be required. Sold separately. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Randy, what you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. I'm just making a list of things that make me feel really, really good.
Wearing Bombas socks.
Trust me, that's number one on my list. Bombas socks feel so good because we use the smartest design and best materials, making them the most comfortable socks ever.
Plus, because socks are the number one most requested clothing item in homeless shelters, we donate a pair for every pair purchased, and that feels pretty good too.
To shop Bombas or learn more about how your purchase supports those experiencing homelessness, go to bombas.com/comfy and get 20% off your first purchase.
At the bottom of the hour, All right, or top of the hour, pardon me. I always get that confused for some reason. All right, let's just go. Let's see here. As we scroll on, Keith, I want to ask you in regards to children, because one of the things that I keep getting questions about from people, usually away from this show, is how do I protect my kids from this happening to them?
Well, this is going to sound really callous. You don't protect them from it. You help them cope with it. Sadly, it boils down to this. Humans do not have the technological capacity, nor the if you will, some people call it psionic, some people call it metaphysic. They don't have the spiritual focus on the whole to stop it from happening. And yeah, I know that sounds like, so we can get abducted, there's nothing we can do about it. And sadly, the answer in a nutshell is, yeah, pretty much. But you can teach them how to cope with it. First rule of thumb is when they start talking about something that doesn't add up, do not categorically go, that's just your imagination. Document what you can so you can compare it over time. And you'll be able to see a pattern and then help them accept the fact that, okay, this is going on. But the fact you're coming back in one piece says you're not in danger.
Well, that's a good sign. I mean, I can understand for people, what signs do parents need to look for in order to see if their children are being taken or not?
The first thing you look at is watch for a sudden metabolic modification. If all of a sudden, and I don't mean all of a sudden they develop a dislike for one type of food. I'm talking about either an inability to process it, or let's say that they have an ability, their body is processing everything. A healing rate on either side can be very indicative. The other thing is, you watch where they're looking. If they all of a sudden stop, people say, well, autistic kids, they stare off into space all the time. And some do. This is why it's not just categorical. Everybody that stares off into space or at one spot is seeing something. Some people just do that. But when they start talking about things they're seeing, get them to open up. Like, ask questions to elaborate on it. Can you explain that a little better? What you're seeing? What does this person actually look like?
All right,
right. But the trick to it is really helping the child understand that what he's going through is not a death sentence. Because the fact that you're talking to him says he hasn't been killed yet. Or at least not left dead.
All right. Hardcore Copper wants to know, do aliens have religion?
Absolutely. Although that almost comes across like a disease, but that's another issue. Absolutely. They do have their own beliefs in a higher power. Some of them are the same belief that humans have. Some of them have, some of them call it a different thing. Okay, but ultimately it boils down to the same thing. Religion is almost a universal belief.
All right, Surf Jer wants to know, the Space Force, will they open up with truth?
Humans opening up with truth about the aliens. I wouldn't hold my breath if I were you. I mean, it would be nice, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
All right, Max Ritchie wants to know, how many other fledgling space travelers are there like Earthlings?
I have no way of giving you that answer. The numbers are, quite frankly, incalculable. It's just humans are not the only race that is on the edge of getting into outer space in force.
Are there other humanoid-type beings like us on other planets that are far more advanced in space travel?
Yeah, the Mobians. The Mobians actually originated on Earth, moved to Mobius, and carried on. Well, this puts them 40,000 years ahead of Earth.
That's a long time.
That would be the most obvious one that's very human-like. When you take a look at the Nords, they're very human-like. There's a lot of races that fall into the category of very human-like that are more advanced than Earth is. And this is why when people talk about, if an alien invasion happens, we'll beat them back.
Our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. We have him for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Really enjoying tonight's show. Our Keith will light it up for another 30 minutes. And then we have the Unbiased UFO Report. Thomas Fessler filling in for a birthday boy, John Hudson, tonight. We'll be back.
I'm going to go grab a coffee here.
There you go.
We're adding to the entertainment online.
I'm just looking for something here. Beyond that. Sorry, I'm just looking for something in the chat room here, guys. Oh, it's taken out. Okay. This is for my wrenches who are here, who are hopping in and out or are watching in their own little chat rooms. All right. I have a zero tolerance on any insult towards anything to do with race, sexuality, or anything along those lines. If I see that again, I shouldn't have to see it as a host. I could only go so far in the chat room. I rely on my wrenches in order to clear that shit up. Okay? Attacks on guests for no reason that are very rude, or any type of racial or sexual orientation type of comments, they're not allowed in this chat room. This is a chat room for everybody. Everybody is welcome here. Everybody is loved here. I don't care what color you are, what sex you are, what political party you're affiliated with, or what religion you are. Okay? And to anybody in our chat room who makes those types of comments, you're banned. It's that simple. I hate banning people. Okay? But I have a zero tolerance policy for bullshit like that. All right? Zero tolerance. Nobody here should have to put up with that. This is a safe place for everyone. I shouldn't have to continually have to mention that. So, yeah, I'm a little pissed off right now. And I apologize, okay, for being a little bit on edge right now. But I will not tolerate a guest getting driven into the ground, much like I care about Keith. And I will not have any racist or any type of comments like that made in our chat room. Ever. It's not cool. Not cool at all. And it's an immediate ban. Put it that way. It's an immediate ban. I hate banning people, but I'm done with that. I'm done with that bullshit. And you know exactly who I'm talking about here. All right? I don't care if it's a joke or not. Final warning to anybody. You do not pull that shit in my chat room. No, I won't calm down, Lazarus. I know you got me. I know it's not you. But unfortunately, there are a small few who are being idiots. Thank you, G West, for the super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely I did, Iscarol, because of your stupid joke. Not one to mess around right now. Just let me calm down a second here, Keith.
Oh, not a problem. You take your time with it.
Hi, lovely Lauren. How are you? Little Marky Spender, what's going on? How you doing, buddy? Super Ron, good to see you. Larry Sobolski, nice to have you. Don D, good to see you back. Let's start here. We got about 1 minute, Keith.
Absolutely.
Wham Bam Ham, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate that. Here we go, Keith.
Okie doke, I'm here.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. And we say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ubiquarian. Ubiquarian is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection, continues on here on Spaced Out Radio. And, of course, we always have a great show with Keith as he comes on near the beginning of each month to talk all things extraterrestrial and supernatural. Keith, we're going to start off with Sonia's question here. Have you tried to bring back any alien plants or food?
Absolutely not. And the reason for it is because, quite frankly, I kill Terran plants. There's no point in bringing another type of plant back here to kill.
You're that bad with plants, eh?
I can kill an air plant in 3 days.
Oh, my goodness. I'm staying away from you. All right, Commonwealth. Commonwealth Andrew is asking, is Father Christmas an alien?
No. Father Christmas was very human. And he was a real person. And yeah, I know that sounds absolutely bizarre, but the chap literally was a real person. He just had a fantastic idea that caught on.
All right, let's go to Sammy. So do aliens think of other aliens as aliens, like humans see them as aliens?
Actually, that made total sense. Just to be clear there, Sammy. The answer is yes. Understand that aliens coming to Earth do not see humans as aliens on Earth. But any race that goes to a different planet is alien to that planet.
All right, perfect.
Humans are the odd one that look at the things coming to them as being, as being a problem. But no, they absolutely see aliens as aliens.
All right, let's rock and roll here to a next one. Max is wondering, do any races answer to or worship a higher power?
Answer to, there are many. Worship, most of the ones that understand the higher power, like they have the same problem. Some will worship what they call their higher power or their god. Some will answer to them. Some of them disregard them. They go, okay, you're a god, well, go away. Right. I mean, you get the whole 9 yards. Any way that any variation on the way humans look at what they call God or Allah or whatever name they want to put on it, off-worlders and ancient races have the same tendency. I don't know of one race that does not believe in a higher power.
Joe wants to know, who are the first aliens to discover Earth?
That would have to be, well, the spirits were the first ones to do it, but the Zerziks would have been the next in line. I suspect would be the best way to put it, or vice versa. No, it would be the Zerziks were the first to see. The spirits were the ones that started building Earth. The Zerziks were the first ones to discover the fact it was being built. And like I mentioned earlier, the Zerziks come from before this universe.
Okay, let's go to another question here, my friend. And Wham Bam Ham is wondering, are we actually in danger of an alien invasion anytime soon, like next 10 years or so?
Not even in the next 100,000 years. Mankind is not in danger of being invaded. See, the way an invasion would work, and I've seen this done before, they fire off a triphasic EMP pulse that wipes out every form of electronic and every form of electronic component. It disrupts the configuration, so you can't even build the electronics to replace them. They'll do that from the far side of Mars. Then they'll move into the far side of the moon's orbit, and they'll start picking off the trash that we've got in orbit around our own place and use that for impact damage. Mankind wouldn't even know the war started before it was over. But fortunately, the off-worlders are not interested in taking over Earth. That's actually completely forbidden.
All right, let's go to Lester. Are there aliens that look identical to humans?
Mobians. You'd never tell them apart. You could put them under a Terran microscope and you wouldn't see a difference.
Hardcore wants to know, how have aliens been able to survive for so long?
They had an earlier start than humans did. I mean, the reality is mankind is an extremely young race. Okay, I mean, you go out, you reproduce, you produce more of your species, and you carry on with the species.
Scary Gary would like to know, do extraterrestrials believe in the chupacabra?
Well, yeah, considering they had it. The chupacabra didn't start on Earth. And yeah, some of them absolutely do believe in them.
I still don't know. My jury's still out on the chupacabra.
That's okay.
Still out. All right, let's go to G West. Has any of the alien species stated what year they will make contact with Earth?
Nope. That depends entirely on when mankind wakes up enough that it's no longer afraid of itself for whatever color it is or what part of what geographical location they're on. They will not be making that kind of contact from a mass standpoint. Like, they're already making contact. That's why we're having this conversation at all. But as far as the overall global contact goes, that's waiting for mankind to grow up a bit. And there's no way they can gauge when that's going to happen.
All right, let's continue on here. With Spaced Out Radio let's get to Super Ron. Have you ever heard of pets being involved in abductions? That's a good question.
It is, and it's one. I mean, this is neat because I've never seen that question before. But the answer is yes. Pets are taken. Bear in mind that pets are another species, and therefore, because they have close contact with humans, taking the pets is a way to get to understand humans from an observatory standpoint by talking to the pets. Right. Some pets are more adept at spotting them. Hence, you end up with cats and dogs go right squirrely when they're in the room.
Okay. Let's go on here. And Kepsa is asking, what do you think about the Galactic Federation, the Israeli security of...
In the time before AT&T fiber internet.
What? What are you doing in me dungeon?
It's the only place where the bloody Wi-Fi works.
Oh, and you don't mind the spiders?
Spiders? What spiders? Oh no, they're everywhere! Oh!
In the time after AT&T fiber internet.
It's nice having fast, reliable Wi-Fi in the whole house.
For sure.
The dawn of a better internet era with AT&T fiber.
Limited availability in select areas. Check eligibility at att.com/getfiber. AT&T Smart Wi-Fi extenders may be required. Sold separately. Restrictions apply.
The holidays are here, and this year, there's no better way to share the magic of the season than with a festive bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. 1-800-Flowers has holiday bouquets guaranteed to make everyone on your list smile. Right now, you can get 24 holiday light roses for just $39.99. Send a Merry Christmas with 1-800-Flowers. To get 24 holiday light roses for just $39.99, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in.
Of their space program, Haim Eshed was talking about.
Is that the one that you sent me the link to?
Long time ago, yes.
Okay. Yeah, ultimately he's talking about the same thing that I was, which is literally the Galactic Consortium. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting read. And as Dave knows, I don't read a whole lot about the stuff. But no, ultimately what he was describing was literally the Galactic Consortium by another name.
Do the aliens have illness or diseases?
Absolutely. And yes, there are aliens that are dumber than fence posts. But yes, some of them do have genetic flaws. Now, the reality is, and this is brutal from human standpoints, in many of the races, especially their carnivorous ones, if a member becomes infected, it is not used for dinner. It is thrown in the fusion reactor.
Max would like to know, are these Mobians our progenitors? Have they evolved into other dimensions?
The second part is absolutely not. And in all fairness, they're not our progenitors either. They evolved on Earth on the same line that humans did, but because of a mistake they made, they bailed from Earth. And the ones that were left behind re-evolved to become what you call humans today. But the Mobians are not the ones that built humans.
Vash the Impaler would like to know, do you think extraterrestrials have been here on or around Earth for even 1 billion years?
Absolutely. They've been here as long as the Earth has. Now, granted, there's very few of them that were here when the Earth was built. Most of those have died away.
What's a lifespan for the average alien?
I have no way of giving you a balance on that.
And
the reason I don't is because the longest lifespan I know of is several billion years. And I'm referring to Terran years. And I know some that only live for literally, because of their environment or otherwise, they literally only live for a few days. Terran days.
Right.
So, I mean, what's the average? I have no way of calculating it.
All right. Big J wants to know, what alien race would most likely try to take over the human race?
Humans. And I know that's not an alien race. But the reality is, if you took the actual consortium out of the equation, if you were to move them out of the area and have them disconnect from Earth altogether, you can bet the Mechlinoids or the Teklek would move in. The Moldocs would take over, right? But because the Moldocs would look at it as hunting ground and slavery, right? The Tekleks would simply strip the place to its core, including the human race. And the Mechlinoids would transform the whole dang thing. Because they'd start by wiping out the races on the surface of the planet, then they'd kill off the planet. Bear in mind that Earth itself is another race.
Trinitro wants to know, what kind of food do reptilians eat? Flies?
That depends on the reptilian. There's one race that is very much into the fly side of it. There we are. The Zotar are the only reptilian that actually utilize flies as a main food source. Of course, understand the Zotar are only like 6 inches tall. But no, most of your reptilians, they're carnivores. And guess what they eat?
Obi Flett would like to know, are owls connected to the phenomena?
Well, there is a race called the Uka, which look extremely like owls. And so, but owls themselves are a Terran bird. I don't recall what their basic heritage was, but they're an avian from Earth.
Looks good. All right. G. West would like to know, are there any hot spots on Earth where we could find extraterrestrials?
Well, you're going to love this answer. No, you're not. The answer is yes, and no, I'm not going to tell you. And of course, then you get the people in the audience that'll go, oh, he's not saying anything because he doesn't know. On the plus side, that's okay by me. But I made an agreement with them a long time ago. Would I reveal where they are? No. Just not going to happen that way. But there are absolutely places that are more prevalent to it. Not the least of which is, in your remote areas because I'm presuming he or she is referring to places where they settle in, where they regularly land, this sort of thing. There are definitely hot spots where they do that.
All right. Lazarus would like to know, what are your thoughts on Hollow Earth and Hollow Moon?
Hollow Moon itself, not so much. Hollow Earth is very real. There are things in the moon, but the moon itself is not hollow. Okay, but Earth itself has an entire setup under the crust. It's got a whole other ball game down there. And no, invading what people refer to as hollow Earth or inner Earth is just a suicide run. Mankind would not be happy with it.
David
And
Lopez.
you can bet your bottom dollar they wouldn't be happy with it either.
True. David Lopez would like to know what aliens are considered hostile.
The ones that are shooting at you are really not nice people. But realistically, Moldocs on the whole are a nasty race. The Tekleks on the whole, the massive majority of them are not polite. Your Shadow Walkers, humans would absolutely see as hostile. Right. The Kinlar are just a violent race all the way around. I mean, they kill each other to get the glory of the kill. So they're definitely a hostile race.
All right, let's continue on here. As Fapster would like to know, did aliens wipe out the dinosaurs, and were dinosaurs even real?
Well, that's a long conversation, but if you take a look at World Weekly News from back in the 80s, the Martians stole the dinosaurs. But the reality is the dinosaurs died out by natural causes and evolved into what we now know as modern birds. Were the dinosaurs ever real? Absolutely. Some of them still are.
Hardcore would like to know, are there any alien races that are jealous of humans?
Many of them. And subsequently, they are also afraid of humans. See, humans have the innate ability of handling what humans refer to as zero-point energy, but what the off-worlders see as reality modification. Humans can alter matter by thought. Only most humans have devolved to the point they don't think, much less manipulate matter well. But yeah, there are many races that are jealous of the freedom, of the creative freedom that humans exude, and their creative capacity, but they're afraid of their curiosity streak.
Steve Franchise, does Dave Scott have a reptilian lineage?
That one I won't even touch.
Why? He wants to know.
He probably does. And there's a lot of things that people will ask me that they can ask me until the end of time. I still ain't going to go there. You want to say something about your heritage? That's your issue, not mine.
You've spilled it before.
Actually, no, I haven't. I'm giving you the same answer.
I know. All right, Scary Gary would like to know, what are your thoughts on UFO vortexes, like what's at the UFO Watchtower here in Colorado?
Well, to be specific, the UFO Watchtower in Colorado, I don't know where it is. That being said, do the vortices exist? The answer is absolutely yes. And they're useful as all get out for transportation points.
Okay. 5900 wants to know, which is more dangerous, nuclear power and energy or 0-point energy?
Absolutely 0 point. Nuclear power will lay waste to a very specific area, usually about 2 or 3 miles, plus expanded radiation lake. 0 point can crack a planet.
All right, Fab 22, the Chilbanton 2001 degree crop circle, an answer to Arecibo radio telescope message 1971. Your thoughts, Keith?
I'm familiar with the Chilbanton crop circle. This falls under that, and much less the Arecibo radio telescope.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my thoughts are pretty blank.
All right.
I remember in 71 they sent out a radio message, but not knowing what the crop circle itself was specifically, I cannot give you an answer.
All right. We only got about 2 minutes left here, and let's see here. Let's go. Where are we going here? G West is asking, besides Earth, are there any other planets or moons in the solar system that the alien civilizations are interested in or even fighting for?
In this solar system, there's other ones that they're interested in. Of course, there's other ones in this solar system that are inhabited. But are any of them in a full-blown battle for any one of the occupied planets? No. They're not. They are actually forbidden to fight for dominance over an occupied planet.
And final question. Final question. We got about 90 seconds. Is there a planet of ape-like creatures, not human apes?
Absolutely, the Wara. The Wara look very similar to humans. They look very similar to, in all fairness, they look closer to Sasquatch. But they come from their own planet. And they look like human apes, but they are not human apes.
All right, Keith, we got 45 seconds with you tonight, buddy. And tell everybody where they can get a hold of you.
Easiest way to find me is if you look up either Inner Voice Enterprises on YouTube or look for literally The Journey. You'll find me there. I'm also on Facebook as Inner Voice Enterprises or R. Keith Andrews. Okay, and there's a whole pile of different ways you can get a hold of me. Of course, there's also the Elderbach and my Elderbach website, which handles all my books on Facebook.
All right, buddy. We love you, man. Thank you so much for coming on in once again, R. Keith. You are the best, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family, and we will talk to you at the beginning of January, my friend.
Absolutely, and thank you so much again for having me. Thanks for the fantastic questions from the people today.
All right, coming up next, Thomas Fessler is going to be here, filling in for a birthday boy, John Hudson, on the Unbiased UFO Report. We will continue right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Good job tonight, Keith.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've seen very few times when you've gotten that agitated about somebody. I understand why, don't get me wrong.
No, you cannot come into my chat room and, hey, Thomas, how are you? You cannot come into my chat room and make bad jokes like that or throw accusations that are simply not true.
Yeah, that's someone from GoofOn. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Zachary Smith is one from GoofOn, and if he's been going ahead and sowing the seeds of discontentment, you're going to be seeing some different people coming across. That's why I have it, my channel, and actually increase my subscribership. If people want to chat, they have to be a subscriber, and then they'll double think about coming in and doing it, and it just makes everything so much easier.
Yeah. No, I understand that. We're going to be talking about that in our team meeting on Sunday. Just... You know, I'm very protective of Keith. Very protective. And when you start calling names to Keith or any other guest on the show, like liar, storyteller...
That's GoofOn. That's GoofOn, people. And that's where people need to be respectful to each other in the audience and respectful to the people who are on the show. And that's what it's about.
It's funny, though. He's never been like that before, ever, when he's been in here. And tonight, all of a sudden, it switched. He's been in here a number of times. So,
something from Rich set him off. That's what I would peg it down to. And we can look at the people, but it's generally not the people. It's the people who are instigating them.
Never know. Never know.
Yeah. Well, no, I've seen him over there enough times. I mean, Smith used to come to my show a long time ago, but then when the whole thing, when Rich started throwing the shade at me and stuff, and sometimes I'll see the show goes on to a certain point, and then I get a bunch of people who come into the chat, who come in watching the show. You get a bunch of different people who haven't been there in the chat before, and I can see them because all my regulars, they're all freaking mods, and we can see who are the people who aren't usually coming in. And you can spot the troll a mile away.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The good part about it is our chat room, it doesn't happen that often. And you know what? We got 99.8% of our, even 99.9% of our chatters, and even the people listening. There's 160 people listening right now. Okay? They They are incredible. They are absolutely incredible. And, yeah.
Yeah.
I always got...
Any of you guys have been chatting out there tonight and you haven't subscribed, do yourself a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because if it wasn't for Dave and this channel, you wouldn't have this great chat and this great interactive to be here. And it's honestly, chatting is a free benefit you get, but it's as easy as getting as a benefit of clicking that subscribe button and say, hey, this is a place that I like. It's a place I want to call home.
Mm-hmm. It happens. Love the lint roller, though. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, when you've got an old dog who's 17, thank God she's sleeping right now. Turn the audio down, because you've got a voice that somehow just will wake the dead.
I'm sorry. I'll keep it quiet.
That's always entertaining if you're in a graveyard.
Oh, you should see his puppy. She's 17 years old. She's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
What is she?
Gary's actually the one who picked that one up, by the way. He's listening in the back right now. Say hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
How you doing?
All right, Art Keith. We're going to say goodnight to you, buddy.
Well, thank you so much.
Love you, buddy.
Have a good one.
You take care. We'll talk soon. I'll call you before Christmas, bud.
Absolutely, Dave. Take
All
care.
right.
Merry Christmas to you.
Keith.
And to you as well there, Thomas.
Yeah, have a great one.
You too.
I love Art Keith.
Oh, yeah.
Literally one of the nicest people I've ever met in this field.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Someone who's passionate about the information that he has, and he likes sharing it, and he's excited about it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if some people out there want to be doubters or people that just want to go ahead and, be negative about it, what's the old saying from, was it from Bambi? If you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing.
Well, some people can't help it. Hey, it's gorgeous Lavira. How are you? And Applesauce, welcome back. Anonymous Rex, good to see you, buddy. And the lovely and talented Jennifer Lane has returned, except she's changed it. Chris Holm, how you doing, bud? Thank you so much for the Super Chat. And everybody who has helped out with the Super Chat tonight, I really do appreciate that. And I apologize, guys, for getting a little angry, but there are certain things that will set me off. And, anybody getting picked on in our chat rooms, it sets me off like that. So I apologize for kind of getting a little out of hand there and going all hockey player there, but I'll talk about it later after the show. Here we go, everyone. Rounded third, we're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, all of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's find out what's happening in the world of, let's just see here. Where are we going to play this? Yep, there it is. The Unbiased UFO Report. Thomas Fessler filling in for a vacationing John Hudson, who decided that he would rather spend his birthday hanging out with his daughter and friends rather than talking UFOs with us. And we said, you know what? That's no problem whatsoever. Thomas Fessler, we bring you in. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing, bud?
Doing awesome, Dave. It's been a great week, some days you have weeks at work when you feel like it's a week of Mondays, but at least my Monday only showed up on Monday and Friday, so it's not so bad. We all live to work. No, we don't live to work. We worked. We don't work to live.
Socks are the #1 most requested item at homeless shelters. Underwear second, and shirts are third. At Bombas, socks were first, made with comfortable details for everyday wearing. Then underwear and shirts too, all designed to perfectly fit. At Bombas, every item you purchase means you're donating an essential clothing item to someone in need. One comfortable clothing item for you, one donated to someone in need. Bombas, comfort for all. Get 20% off your purchase at bombas.com/comfy.
Brought to you by Noggin. Need a little extra help building your child's math and reading skills? Their favorite characters from Nick Jr. shows like Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, Blue's Clues, and Blaze are here to help.
Let's get to work!
And they're in Noggin, the smart and fun learning app, where activities are designed to grow the skills your child needs to succeed in school and in life. What's even more fabulous is that you can claim a limited time holiday offer of 99 cents a month plus taxes for 3 months by visiting noggin.com/iHeart. Start your free trial today. $7.99 a month plus taxes until you cancel after free trial ends. Visit noggin.com for terms and conditions.
And, when the day ends and you have an opportunity to talk about UFOs and do some research into it and see where it's going, that's what I live for.
Now, on your YouTube channel, Disclosure Tonight with Thomas Fessler, and I highly ask all of our listeners to subscribe to your channel. You've been really taking on this whole military-industrial complex lately that we've been seeing in the news. Yeah. I'm really surprised that the mainstream media, Thomas, hasn't picked this up as of yet. They're starting to. We've seen articles from The Hill, Politico, even TMZ starting to pick this up. Yeah. But where's CNN? Where's Fox? Where's the New York Times? Where's the LA Times? Where are the big papers when this is a major story, my friend?
Well, everyone's been quiet since December 26th. It's like there was this big rush up of all this information coming up to disclosure, right? And then all of a sudden, after disclosure hit, it's like although they've had the highest ratings they've ever had, all of a sudden they clamped down. Someone from Congress spoke up here, but then when we had Tim Burchett from the House, and then we had Representative Gillibrand from the Senate, actually Senator Gillibrand, talk about this. There was nothing really that much on Tucker. There was nothing really on the major news. No one's covering the story, and as we're getting closer to the approval of the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022, it's been silent. It's been quiet. And not until after we had the Pentagon come out and basically say, we're not, it was Doug, what do you call it, Speaker Kirby from the Pentagon was out there, or John Kirby, I believe, going out there and saying that, hey, we're going to keep the information, we're going to keep it flowing, but we're not going to give you regular updates and we're not going to read you into it. But still, a lot of the any of the news that did cover it, they try to put a positive spin on it, which it's like sheep leading the sheep.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed. But I mean, we've been saying it for about a week and a half now. When the AOI MSG first came out,
yeah,
okay, that basically this is the military-industrial complex biting back at elected officials.
Yeah,
biting back, and yet silence. It's only a certain few in this community that have been really picking it up. And there's some great writers and journalists out there for Politico, The Hill, who have grabbed it as well. And even TMZ, which is more of a smut-type channel, okay? I mean, they're even noticing how it's that obvious.
They're the only ones who are willing to track down the House representative on the Hill when he's walking down the stairs. He does that every single day, if not a couple times a day. And no one is out there. That's the part that blows my mind is we have these people who are willing to talk, willing to give comment on it. But it was like the comment they had on TMZ was great. Not only did he mention the the military industrial complex, he called out the religious industrial complex. That basically saying you've got these people who are in these corporations that are not just that are outside of the Pentagon, who are using religious intent and such for controlling the narrative because they're afraid of what the truth can bring.
All right, but two of the people who have been attacked recently are Chris Mellon and Luis Elizondo, basically being told to shut up by this military industrialized group.
They both spoke out, though. Like you brought up the Hill. The Hill had a piece that ran 2 days ago where you had both Elizondo and Mellon speaking out, talking about, well, not necessarily naming them in a military-industrial complex, but this need for it to keep disclosure, to keep the information clamped down, what they've been doing for the last 75 years, and they want to continue it for another 75 years.
Okay, so what is the purpose of the military, in your opinion, trying to cover this up?
Well, think about all the stuff they've potentially done. You know, we've had to go all the way back to Roswell 70 plus years ago. How many people have they told that you're lying, that you didn't see what you saw, that you actually saw something else? How many people that they have committed to, psychiatric facilities or people who had medical issues resulting out of it? They made it up something else versus treating the people for what they had. In addition to that, you've got, look at what potentially happened going back to Eisenhower and the meetings between potentially the ETs and the humans. I mean, but we got to say, when's the last time we actually heard about someone in the government talking about the military-industrial complex? That goes all the way back to Eisenhower.
Oh, I fully agree with you on that. But for Elizondo and Mellon, they have been outspoken about this, especially over the last year or so. All right. And this is something that has, I've often wondered, and I've even talked to people behind the scenes about this, like, how are they getting away with a lot of what they're saying? I mean, here they are both getting paid by the government as contractors or whatever they're advising on, advisors, and yet here they are speaking out against a lot of what the military represents. I mean, this has to cause a lot of tension.
It has to. I mean, if you look at what they tried to erase Elizondo, like they erased David Adair and they erased Lazar. They wanted to make those guys act like they didn't exist, and they've done the same thing to him. But now this is in recent history, so at least they're speaking out. They're talking to the Hill. They're trying to bring out the situation. But the thing is, the best thing about it is we're getting people who are in the elected office trying to go ahead. They're listening to it. They're getting momentum, and most importantly, they have people who are on the inside who are protecting them. Because if they didn't have that level of protection, I would even say Representative Tim Burchett would potentially be at risk for the information he's saying today compared to, who knows what could happen to him if he didn't have the people in there backing up from what he's saying. I mean, they used to say this is political suicide, but even you've got Northrop Grumman coming out on, major pieces coming from their website, going ahead and basically acknowledging everything that's going on with ufology from the report up to where we're at now, with the little tagline, "Hey, look for careers at Northrop Grumman," basically saying, "We get it. Come on, work for us."
Oh, I get
and that's the industrial complex right there.
Well, I get that, and I can appreciate that all too well. But, I mean, with these politicians, as we are starting to see more and more, it started with Mark Warner, then it moved to Marco Rubio. Then we found out that the Senate Intelligence Committee had been read in on the UFOs, which now includes the Vice President of the United States, who is on the intelligence community there, Kamala Harris. Okay, now we're seeing Senator Gillibrand, Tim Burchett, who also participated earlier this year in September's Big Phone Home 2, put on by the Unidentified Celebrity Review YouTube channel. He was there. I mean, these are people now who are taking this subject very seriously, not just as a threat narrative. Okay, they want to know what the military knows.
He flat out said he doesn't trust the military. He doesn't trust the Pentagon. He's not confident with giving them any money because he feels that they're not going to tell us anything because that's what they've been doing. I mean, if you read what he's, read the words that he said and you listen to what he said, this is one of the few guys who actually, if you listen to it, he sounds like who's someone from UFO Twitter who's really up to speed on it. Either that, or he's had someone good along the lines of Elizondo and Mellon reading him in on the information that all of us are too familiar with.
Okay. Are a lot of these politicians questioning whether or not they should be speaking out about this? Because, look, The one thing the military-industrial complex has done over the last number of decades is they've taken their pieces of their parts. They'll have bolts made in Michigan. They'll have tires made in California. They'll have, landing gear made in Kentucky. They've spread out all of their manufacturing where it's almost in every state. The state gets a little bit, which keeps people employed. That's what the military-industrial complex does. And that way, the military can now say, well, geez, or Northrop Grumman or Lockheed can say, well, remember when you were pushing that UFO button a little bit too hard? How would you like to lose 8,000 jobs in your state? Because we're going to move this elsewhere.
Yeah, those 8,000 jobs could result in you not being elected.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a bribe or a threat game, I hate to say. It's something we look at. It's like right now, it's like one of the biggest donors that we have going to the House of Representatives are the lobbyists for the Nord Stream 2 pipeline from Russia. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because they don't want us to go ahead and pass any penalties or tariffs against that. So it's that old payola game. And my dad used to say in his way was that they're all crooked. Politicians, that is, because if you go ahead and you offer someone to buy him a coffee, that's a bribe. And if you take all the payola that's going out and all the lobbying that's happening, it's hard to find people that you can actually trust and understand and think that they're representing the people who elected him to office and the people they're representing, or the money that's actually pouring into their back door.
I get that. I mean, that has to be a factor for why a lot of more politicians are staying silent right now.
We've had, right after the initial disclosure happened, we had one representative from the House out of Indiana who spoke boldly, and he was the only one saying, yes, we should have congressional hearings on this. But you know how many additional people out there lined up and stood behind him and say, I'm behind this guy, I'm going to go with it? Absolutely no one. I mean, I swear it was crickets. So you have to wonder, are they getting pressure from different areas not to talk, or are they getting more of threats saying, if you go on this particular area, we're going to make it difficult for you? Like you were saying about the industrial complex.
We only got a couple more minutes left with you on the Unbiased UFO Report. Thomas Fessler filling in for a vacationing John Hudson. And Thomas, Avi Loeb, the Harvard professor who's setting up the Galileo project, he's now kind of jumped into the fray here because politically speaking, there's going to be a lot of politicians who want to talk to a scientist with his acumen.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I listened to his comments and everything today, and his big thought with regards to this is all of the information that's being gained, everything that we're learning, everything that we're going to, come together with needs to be open. It needs to be transparent. And it's something that we're not actually going to be getting from the government. And that's why he sees his movement of what he's trying to do is so important compared to what the government is trying to do and trying to lock everything up.
Okay, so recently we've seen him team up with Elizondo, Mellon, and other political officials as the Galileo project and the team starts to grow with this. How much pull does a guy like Avi Loeb have when it comes to this?
He's been controversial to a degree. It was even pointed out on the website from Northrop Grumman. And I mean, he's made a lot of claims regarding things like Wama, the probe saying, the rock, actually, we don't know what it was flying around the earth and saying it was a, potentially a spaceship. So he's made a lot of out there claims on stuff. So, it's on that front. To some people, they see he's someone who's jumped the gun on a lot of stuff, but the biggest thing he's got out there is he's got a message. He's got a point that he's bringing across, and he's bringing about the message of open transparency, of sharing the information, of making this something that's a discovery for humanity. And I think the way he's saying it and coming across in his European accent, I think it's resonating with a lot of people, and everyone is hearing the government where they're taking the fifth, or we're not going to give you the information, versus someone who wants to be open and transparent and make this a learning event for everybody.
All right, Thomas Fessler, thank you so much for filling in for John Hudson tonight.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely, and just stick around in the green room. We will bring you on for the after show here. All right, let's get to Shirky Poo's news, everyone. All right, let's get to Shirky Poo's news. Envelopes full of cash and checks have been found behind a loose toilet by a plumber doing repairs at celebrity televangelist Joe Osteen's Lakewood Church in Texas. According to church officials, the plumber detailed the bizarre discovery made on November 10th at the Houston megachurch on the morning show of the 100.3 The Bull, a country music radio station in the city. There was a loose toilet in the wall, and we removed the tile, he said. We went to go remove the toilet, and I moved some insulation, and about 500 envelopes fell out of the wall. And I was like, oh, wow. The plumber then contacted the maintenance supervisor and turned the envelopes in. It's not clear how much money was in those envelopes. A representative from the church acknowledged the discovery. Recently, while repair work was being done at Lakewood Church, an undisclosed amount of cash and checks were found. Lakewood immediately notified the Houston Police Department and is assisting them with their investigation. The mystery money comes after $600,000 in checks and cash disappeared from the church's safe in 2014. No arrests were made in that case, and the Houston Police Department's investigation remains open. Moving on down here, a New Jersey family received a shock of a lifetime when a giant chunk of ice crashed through the roof of their home and ended up in their kitchen. Kim Paradise said she was giving baby a little bit of medicine because the toddler was not feeling very well at the family's Marlton home when she heard a loud noise coming from another room. Wow, that's close. She says, "We heard something come through. It was like an explosion." The ice chunk crashed through the roof of the home and punched a hole in the kitchen ceiling. Paradise said smaller pieces of ice were found outside the home. There's ice outside on the grass. There's ice in our backyard, on our roof. Paradise said that it was not clear where the ice came from, but there had been planes flying overhead at the time of the incident. Now, no one was injured inside the home when this happened. A Wisconsin man received a similar surprise in May when a 12.6-pound of chunk of ice crashed through the roof of his family's house and into his bedroom. The origins of the ice chunk that crashed into Ken Millerman's Elk Mound home were unclear. The National Weather Service said storm clouds in that area were not strong enough to have created such a large piece. Alien ice, people. The black triangles flying on out, go on an angle to get some elevation, pulling back on the stick, as they say. And boom, ice flows right off. That's what I think. Staff and customers have taken shelter in a Danish branch of IKEA after dense snowstorms and drastic weather meant they were prevented from leaving. 6 customers and 24 employees became trapped in IKEA Aalborg, a branch in the north part of the country, on Wednesday after a snowstorm forced traffic to a standstill. "This is certainly a new situation for us," said store manager Peter Elmos. "It's certainly not how I thought my day would end up when I was driving to work in the morning." Staff and customers took shelter in the shop's cafeteria and watched a few soccer matches to boil their blood. Some even rolled around on the floor because they wanted to imitate their famous hooligans. Yeah, and then they slept in the living room section while the staff will be bedded up in other showrooms. Our kitchen staff have made sure there is a lot of hot chocolate, pastries, soft drinks, cooked coffee, and the odd beer for us in light of the occasion, so we'll be happy to keep warm, said Elmos. "For us, the most important thing is that we have to take care of each other and that everyone can feel safe. I've been at IKEA for 16 years, and I've never experienced anything like this." Good for IKEA. Imagine all the free Swedish meatballs. Those are so good. Let's get to the thought of the day, shall we? What would you like to learn from extraterrestrials? David, what the possibilities are for the human future, for galactic civilization, and if it looks anything like Star Wars, Star Trek, Dune, Babylon 5. Jeannie, I want to learn about spirituality. Major Lee, are you abducting humans? If so, why? Let's go to Thin Lizzy. How they view colors. If they do, how so? Rick, I would like to know why people imagine that they exist when no one has ever gathered even a shred of evidence. I think you're wrong there, Rick. I really do. Barry, how they hide so well. Cheryl, how they manage to not destroy themselves. Bobby, I want the lotto numbers. Ted, I want space travel. David, will we need their help in order to survive the next 100 years? Uncle Dale, why don't they send a sheriff down here to keep the various races from kidnapping and torturing us? Also, how do we file a class action lawsuit against them for all the damage they've done? Kevin, the instructions for making the big gun. And that is your thought of the day. Thank you to everyone participating. Thank you to Shirky Poo for the news. And of course, our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection, Thomas Fessler, filling in for John Hudson as well. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thanks to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.
Hi, I'm Randy, and this is Dave.
We're the founders of Bombas, the most comfortable socks in the history of feet.
So comfortable, we sold and donated millions of pairs.
To sell and donate a lot of socks, we became obsessed with comfort.
We reinvented the sock from the ground up, adding comfort innovations along the way.
It worked. People tried them, loved them, told their friends about them,
helping us sell and donate millions of pairs.
Try them now at bombas.com/comfy and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS.com/comfy.
Brought to you by Noggin. Need a little extra help building your child's math and reading skills? Their favorite characters from Nick Jr. shows like Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, Blue's Clues, and Blaze are here to help.
Let's get to work!
And they're in Noggin, the smart and fun learning app, where activities are designed to grow the skills your child needs to succeed in school and in life. Fabulous! What's even more fabulous is that you can claim a limited time holiday offer of 99 cents a month plus taxes for 3 months by visiting noggin.com/iHeart. Start your free trial today. $7.99 a month plus taxes until you cancel after free trial ends. Visit noggin.com for terms and conditions.